This episode has been brought to you by JustNForm.com. If you're tired of being censored, tired of having your data stolen and sold, go to JustNForm.com, a social media site where all voices are welcome.
We have some more news, some more breaking news. Hey, there's some good news. I can say there is some good news. So as you all know, Stacy Abrams refused to concede. And to be honest, I was impressed. I was impressed because Stacy Abrams is in a weird situation, in my opinion. She's in a weird situation because she's in a state that is dominantly Republican. She is running as a black woman, despite the fact that some people would like to say that has no implication on how people see her and what people expect from her. Being a black male in politics, I beg to differ. They tried to bully her into backing down. The Republicans in that particular state were cheating. They purged 500,000 people of color with absolutely no one being held accountable for that purge. And the person who is supposed to be holding people accountable for that purge, who is in charge of the electoral process in Georgia, is also running for freaking governor. What is going on in this country? I'm sorry. Every time I say that out loud, I'm just like, what the hell? But it's okay. Because boldly, it looks like Stacy Abrams took a page out of Tim Canova's book. And it's fighting this election and election fraud being committed by the Republicans this time, tooth and nail, into the very, very last vote is counted. And that there is some accountability. Now, unfortunately, one of our friends came out the woodwork to collect on this issue. Who do y'all think it was? Is it A, Cory Booker, B, Hillary Clinton, C, Kamala Harris, or D, all the above? Well, if you guess all the above, normally you probably wouldn't be that wrong. But it was, in fact, Kamala freaking Harris. This woman is what Pace magazine described as effectively draining money from Stacy Abrams. Let me let you know how it goes. So, I love the way they start off the article. It says, Siri, please show me the perfect metaphor for how National Democrats deliberately cannibalize progressive causes in order to serve their own financial ends. And then it has a picture of a tweet from Kamala Harris. Stacey Abrams could win or force a runoff despite her Republican opponent's rampant voter suppression. Donate here to make sure every vote in Georgia is counted. Seems harmless, right? She's trying to raise money, quote unquote, for a candidate whose election is being stolen in front of our very eyes. Kamala Harris is clearly helping, right? Wrong, people. You gotta read the fine print. And guess what the fine print says? Note, your contribution will be divided evenly between Stacy Abrams and Kamala Harris. Click here to allocate those funds and those amounts differently. People, Kamala Harris is trying to use the plight, the struggle, and the fight of Stacy Abrams to raise money for herself. Probably for her presidential campaign. Actually, no, yeah, it would be for her presidential campaign. She isn't up for re-election. Do you understand how disgusting that is? She is, like the article says, effectively stealing money from Stacy Abrams. And once again, without asking for accountability for the voter suppression. Without asking for accountability for the election fraud. Why aren't you down there with your physical presence asking for a recount? Why aren't you encouraging both the Democrats and the Republicans to coalesce around Stacey Abrams as she continues the fight for that Georgia gubernatorial election to make sure that those voters' voices are heard? No, instead, you hold a fake fundraiser to say, let's make sure every vote counts, like that's going to somehow help. It would help if all of the money, because understand, people, fighting for democracy gets expensive for some odd reason. For some odd reason, democracy is expensive. Stacey Abrams needs every single dollar that she can get to fight this issue. And yet, Kamala Harris is taking half of her money away after pretending like she's doing it altruistically, because she can't fundraise on. People are like, well, isn't it good because Stacey Abrams gets some money? Not if it's, in my opinion, it's not good if the money, if even half of that money, if even a quarter of that money ultimately ends up in Kamala Harris's pocket, which will ultimately be used in the presidential campaign, which will ultimately undermine the progressive candidate who's going to run against her in 2020. She has nothing hopeful to say. She does not contribute anything of substance to this discussion, to discussion of politics in general. She is effectively null and void. She's morally bankrupt. Hell, even her own election wasn't legitimate. That's a different discussion for a different day. But her senatorial election was not legitimate. And instead of raising money and giving 100% of that to Stacey Abrams, Kamala Harris decided that it was best to take half of Stacey Abrams' donations in a fight where she needs every single dollar she can get. That is absolutely abhorrent behavior, even for a neoliberal.